Hey friends, how's it going? The movie opens with a chilling scene. A circle of priests and priestesses sit frozen in fear. Out of nowhere, a shadowy figure emerges and swiftly decapitates them. But the horror doesn't stop there. Their bodies are stripped bare, revealing strange, ancient symbols carved deep into their flesh. The killer then peels the skin from their backs and delivers it to a mysterious man seated nearby. The story then shifts to a convent in Russia, where a group of nuns quietly share dinner. Among them is Yulia, different from the rest, lost in her own world. Later that night, unsettling sounds echo through the convent halls. Yulia drifts into a disturbing dream. She sees a one-eyed man binding a book with the skin of priests. She jolts awake, terrified. Moments later, a stabbing pain grips her stomach. She rushes to the washroom, coughing up blood. As she struggles to catch her breath, the light flickers, then dies, plunging her into darkness. A faint glow returns, but the window suddenly shatters, and the pain slams back into her stomach. Trembling, Yulia stumbles out, only to witness tears streaming down the statue of Mother Mary. Before she can process what she's seeing, deep cuts appear across her palms. Her screams echo through the convent halls. The scene cuts to St. Petersburg. The bishop informs Father Fox that Yulia has asked for him specifically, but Father Fox refuses. He claims he doesn't believe in exorcisms anymore. He confesses he wants to leave that life behind because he's in love with a woman who's carrying his child. The bishop then drops a shocking revelation. Yulia is pregnant with twins. She insists the pregnancy is immaculate. According to her, the unborn children already speak to her, and she knows one is good, while the other carries pure evil. The bishop asks Father Fox to take a look at Yulia's case, assuring him that Cardinal Russo will personally oversee it, since he's an expert in ancient languages, just like Fox. Fox later talks it over with Laura, the woman he loves. She tells him Yulia really does need help, and that he shouldn't just ignore her. At first, Fox isn't interested, but when Laura mentions she'll be leaving soon for a work trip to Estonia, she suggests he should see this as his final case. That thought makes him reconsider. A few days later, Fox arrives at the convent. Sister Sniger introduces him to Cardinal Russo, who seems impressed with Fox's knowledge and experience. Russo takes him to a statue of Mother Mary, her face streaked with what looks like tears. Fox inspects the area and points out the nearby water pipes, suggesting it could be nothing more than condensation. But then he asks if anything new has happened since the first report. Russo explains that Yulia refuses to speak with anyone, except Fox. At that moment, Father Saul arrives, and Fox realizes he's the same one-eyed man Yulia saw in her dream. When Fox finally meets Yulia, he asks why she wanted to see him. She explains that her unborn children speak to her, sharing things she couldn't possibly know otherwise. They told her that only he can stop something terrible from happening. Fox presses her, asking if she believes she's in danger. But Yulia tells him he's there by God's will, and that forces are moving against a plan they think they understand better than anyone else. Before she can say more, an elderly nun steps in and takes her away. Later, Cardinal Russo shows Fox a series of photos with strange symbols. He identifies them as cuneiform, but not like any he's seen before. He believes it's a secret language once used by elite Zoroastrian priests. As Fox studies the writing, one prophecy stands out. A virgin will give birth to twin boys, one good, one evil. Before the Messiah can learn to love, the Antichrist will try to kill his brother. He will use the holy man, both the soldier and the father. Skeptical, Fox asks why Yulia hasn't been sent to a hospital, especially given her history. The cardinal explains that, since childhood, Yulia has seen things no one else could. Everyone thought she was hallucinating. Her parents, her doctors, they put her on medication, but the visions never truly went away. The cardinal believes that Yulia's visions aren't madness at all, but messages sent directly from God. One evening, while resting in her room, Yulia suddenly feels something shift inside her stomach. The movement terrifies her. Moments later, her door creaks open and Father Saul is standing there. Her terrified screams echo through the convent. Fox and the cardinal rush to her side, but by the time they arrive, she's already been sedated. Later that night, on his way to his room, Fox hears the sound of a door opening, footsteps shuffling behind him. He follows the trail and finds footprints that lead him outside. At the end of the path, he sees Yulia, naked, walking slowly into a pond. Fox races toward her and dives into the water, but before he can reach her, she vanishes. Instead, he sees 2 newborn babies floating in the pond. And then, suddenly, Yulia screams beside him. Fox jolts awake, realizing it was all a dream. As he sits up, he notices a nun standing silently in the corner of his room, facing the wall. The sight unnerves him. She had apparently wandered in her sleep. When Fox gently escorts her back to her own room, he spots a dark silhouette watching from the window. Not long after, he overhears a conversation between Cardinal Russo and Father Saul. They're debating whether Yulia should be aborted, but since her pregnancy is too far along, their grim discussion turns to what might need to be done after the children are born. Shaken, Fox confronts the Cardinal. He demands to know if this is why he was truly brought here. He warns that killing Yulia's children would damn their souls forever. The Cardinal defends the plan, saying their duty is to protect humanity, and that the Antichrist will return when mankind is at its weakest, farthest from God. But Fox pushes back. To him, Yulia is just a girl who wants to keep her children. Determined to find answers, Fox follows Father Saul and stumbles upon a horrifying scene. Saul leading a satanic ritual with a group of cloaked followers. They quickly spot Fox and try to seize him, but he fights back, locks them inside the room, and runs. Breathless, he rushes to the Cardinal, urging that they must leave immediately. Together with Sister Yulia, they flee. By the time Father Saul bursts out to stop them, the 3 have already escaped in a car. The 3 finally make it to the railway station. Fox quickly calls Laura, telling her he needs her help. Meanwhile, the Cardinal buys tickets to Kiev, but instead, they secretly board a train heading to Tallinn. On the journey, Yulia is struck by sharp stomach pains. The contractions grow worse until, with the Cardinal's help, she gives birth to twin boys. Fox watches the birth unfold but eventually collapses, losing consciousness from exhaustion and blood loss. Not long after, an officer arrives to check their passports. His eyes fall on the newborns, one lying peacefully, the other wailing uncontrollably. The sight overwhelms him. Gripping his head, the officer suddenly smashes it against the train window in a violent fit. The chaos jolts Fox awake. Still weak, he notices stitches on his body. Yulia calmly tells him she patched him up while he slept. Both children are alive, and she calls it a miracle. She proudly names them Samuel and Jacob. When the train finally pulls into Tallinn, Fox spots the same officer he had seen earlier in his dream. Meanwhile, back in Kiev, Father Saul waits at the wrong station, still hunting for them. In Tallinn, Laura greets the group and drives them to her grandfather's house. She explains that, in his final years, he became strange and withdrawn. But the home is large, comfortable, and stocked with everything they'll need. She leads them into the basement, where eerie paintings cover the walls. Her grandfather had painted visions of the end times, convinced he was preparing for the world's collapse. Laura warns that some of his traps may still be active around the property. When the Cardinal asks how her grandfather died, Laura quietly admits he hanged himself inside the house. Later, she shows Yulia to her room. Yulia's face lights up at the sight of a crib, waiting for her children. Meanwhile, Laura makes a private phone call, discussing reports of an outbreak. She wonders if the events surrounding Yulia and the twins are connected. That night, Fox thanks Laura for everything. He tells her that, just as she suggested, they'll eventually move to Canada to raise their family. But one thing is clear, they can never return to St. Petersburg. From the window, Yulia quietly watches as Laura leaves the house. Just then, Fox begins to feel lightheaded, the sound of a crying child overwhelming him until he collapses to the floor. Meanwhile, Father Saul breaks into Fox's room. Searching through his belongings, he comes across a journal, and inside it, photographs of Laura. The next evening, Yulia carefully removes the bandage from Fox's wound to check his condition. To their shock, the injury has completely healed, leaving no trace behind. In that moment, an unspoken attraction begins to grow between them. Yulia even suggests that the children seem to want them together. At the same time, the Cardinal studies the ancient writings more closely. He tells them that everything is aligning with the symbols. According to him, Fox will die as a priest, but be reborn as the father of twins. He explains that this isn't a fixed prophecy, just one possible path. The choice is theirs to make, but before they can discuss it further, the sound of a crying baby fills the room. Fox looks down, and to his horror, he doesn't see a child. He sees snakes. Later, Fox heads into the basement to fetch something. But as he searches, he senses a presence behind him. Suddenly, the lights snap off, leaving him in darkness. Whispering voices close in around him, circling just out of reach. Then, without warning, the lights flicker back on. Elsewhere, Father Saul finally arrives at Laura's home. The first person he encounters is Kataya, the maid, who freezes in terror at the sight of him. That night, Fox and Yulia share the same unsettling dream. In it, Yulia slips a ring onto his finger, and then the two of them give in to their intimacy. The next morning, Yulia tells Fox that the children speak to them through dreams. Just like the men on the train, they share the same visions. She believes they've been chosen, much like Mary and Joseph, and that the three of them are meant to be a family. Their conversation is interrupted by a sudden knock at the door. When Fox opens it, he's stunned to see Laura, her clothes soaked in blood. She explains that someone at the factory threw blood on her. Trying to stay composed, she tells him she's booked a flight to Canada for the next morning. It's sudden, but she insists the sooner they leave, the safer they'll all be. Laura visits the babies, and Yulia gently hands her one to hold. At first, Laura smiles, but the moment she looks into the child's face, her expression changes. Her eyes fill with tears, leaving both Yulia and Fox unsettled by her reaction. Later, Laura and Fox head back to her house. While gathering clothes for Yulia from her cupboard, the camera lingers on the terrible truth. Father Saul has already killed Kataya, hiding her body inside. Laura, unaware, continues on as if nothing is wrong. From outside, Saul keeps watch, his eyes fixed on her. Laura soon senses she's being watched. Alarmed, she calls Fox and tells him someone is out there. Fox turns off the lights and carefully checks the window, but there's nothing in sight. Laura apologizes, saying maybe she's just being paranoid. Meanwhile, Cardinal Russo begins to hear a voice whispering to him. It urges him to kill the children, promising that their deaths will save countless lives. The whispers grow darker, twisting into demonic tones, tempting him with visions of power and wealth. Terrified, the Cardinal tries to shake it off, drinking water to calm his nerves. But when he looks toward the window, he sees a figure staring back at him. The Cardinal grabs his rifle and follows the shadowy figure deep into the woods. The whispers return, circling him like a storm he can't escape. Then, he finally comes face to face with the figure. It speaks only one chilling line: "You are what you serve." Terror floods the Cardinal as he watches his younger self step out of the darkness. Before he can move, his leg snaps into a hidden trap. He struggles to break free, but the woods come alive with glowing eyes, wolves closing in. His younger self tempts him, urging him to join them in killing the child, promising relief from his suffering. But the Cardinal refuses. He spits in defiance, and with that, the vision fades. Moments later, the wolves descend, tearing into him. Meanwhile, Laura and Fox arrive at her factory with the police. Seeing the chaos, Fox warns her to stay away, but Laura steps forward, hoping to calm the crowd. The mob grows restless. As Fox pulls her back, a shot rings out. Laura collapses, fatally wounded. Panic erupts all around them. In her final moments, Laura sees a mysterious boy emerge from the crowd. He walks straight toward Fox, places a hand on his shoulder, and then vanishes without a trace. After leaving Laura's body at the hospital, Fox heads back to the cabin. On the way, he meets Yulia, who tells him she's searching for the Cardinal. Fox joins her, and together, they stumble upon the grisly sight. The Cardinals remain scattered, the wolves still circling. Fox forces them back, takes the rifle, and gathers what's left of the Cardinal. Back at the cabin, he and Yulia build a funeral pyre, sending the Cardinal to rest. But as the flames rise, Father Saul, who has been tracking Fox all along, slips quietly into the cabin. Inside the cabin, Father Saul finds the children. A sinister voice whispers to him, "Kill my brother, and I will give you kingdoms." A demonic figure in the form of a boy appears, directing Father Saul to aim his gun at one of the children. Yulia tries to intervene, stopping him, but Father Saul overpowers her, injuring her and leaving her unconscious. He moves again to harm one of the children, but Fox steps in to prevent it. A struggle breaks out, and Father Saul gains the upper hand, insisting the child must be killed. In response, Fox fights back and gouges out Father Saul's remaining eye. Amid the chaos, Yulia shoots Father Saul. ending his threat and protecting the child. Father Saul dies in the confrontation. Yulia urges Fox that they must leave immediately, knowing it's only a matter of time before the rest of Fox Day finds them. Then she becomes terrified. She sees Laura's grandfather, though Fox cannot. He points upward, guiding them to the attic. In the attic, they find various paintings. One depicts their escape from the convent, another shows Russo's death, and one more features Laura and her baby. Yulia then shows Fox a painting that represents their shared dream. Fox laughs, realizing the prophecy is real, and says he has wasted his entire life. Yulia counters, saying it hasn't been decided yet. The devil could still win, because he is not fighting against God, but against them. Later, the devil begins to twist Fox's thoughts, filling his mind with disturbing visions. Taking on the form of Laura, the devil tells him she has been taken away and that, though he has been doing good for God, his actions are causing harm to mankind. She warns him that the battle isn't over and that only he can save humanity. To do so, he must eliminate the evil one and then take his own life. Suddenly, Yulia wakes up to find Laura's grandfather beside her, urging her to run. Fox pounds on the door, demanding to know why she has locked it. He tries to break it open, but before he can enter, Yulia flees with the children. Meanwhile, 2 police officers arrived at the location, tracking Father Saul's car, which bore a Russian license plate. Desperate, Yulia ran toward them, seeking help, but the relentless cries of the babies drowned out her voice, leaving the officers unable to understand her. Fox appeared suddenly. In a violent frenzy, he killed one officer, disarmed and killed the second, and then focused his attention back on Yulia. Yulia fled, only to find herself trapped at a dead end. Fox caught up to her, his expression cold and unwavering. He told her that this was for her own good, that they were God's vessels on earth. He insisted he would only kill the evil one, and claimed he now knew which child it was. Yulia pleads, reminding him that their purpose is to protect the Messiah from his brother. She tells him to remember the dreams. They were warnings. Fox grabbed one of the babies and moved toward the ocean, intending to throw him into the water. But when he looked into the child's face, something inside him shifted. Memories of all the dreams he had been having flooded back, and he could no longer go through with it. But in a desperate act, Yulia fired the officer's gun, striking him and retrieving the child. Fox lay still, and Yulia believed he was dead. She began reciting prayers over him, remembering the prophecy. Then, just as it had been foretold, Fox stirred. He had died as a priest, but now rose as the father of the twins. In the aftermath, Fox and Yulia returned home to begin a new life. Yulia told Fox that they were not meant to understand the why, and that love was the only way forward. For the first time, they shared an intimate moment together in the shower, quietly closing the chapter on everything they had endured. And with that, the movie ends. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and stay tuned for the next story.